What's up, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Sean and this is V-Twin Revolution. And today, well, I forgot all my camera equipment and, well, the Infinite Rider.
I was trying to photobomb.
The Infinite Rider was like, bro, I got you. And I'm looking a little saucy today because, well, I'm supposed to be filming something for the dealership, Speedway Harley-Davidson. And, well, he said, come crispy, and I was like, all right, bro, we got this. So today we got something cool. One of the subscribers not too long ago had said, make more Pan Am content. Well, just so happens that, well, I have a Pan Am that came in today, and we are going to replace the factory head pipe with some Italian-made hard head pipe. It's pretty cool, looks pretty good from what I saw in the pictures. We're gonna do an unboxing and, well, we'll get after it. So let's go back to the service department where I belong. All right, so when we were walking through the dealership and I was like, Zard, Zeb, totally screwed that up. And obviously you can see that this is Zard. It's Italian.
Ah, fragile. It must be Italian.
Well, I think that says fragile, honey.
Oh, yeah.
We know that much. So let's see what's in the box. Now, I did pre-cut the tape, and then I was like, you know what? I should probably do an unboxing. And, you know, just in case you're wondering what the new 2025 Pan Am looks like, it's that right there. I'm just kidding. Wouldn't be surprised though. Anyways, so this kit is supposed to be a direct replacement All right. Let's see what that looks like. So it's individual headers that you assemble. I guess I could use my knife. That's pretty sweet. And I'm hoping I don't have to take off the rear port because that's kind of a pain. So here's the hoping. Oh yeah, nice. And it even comes with a nice little carbon fiber heat shield. Pretty nice setup. And Greg, the parts guy, is bringing me the parts that I need. Cool, thank you.
No, the exhaust studs, we don't have new exhaust studs.
No, they don't need exhaust stud. I just needed that.
Bobby's got it added for you.
Cool, thank you. Comes with a new spring puller, a couple of springs to attach everything with. So far, so good. What else is in the box? We have an instruction manual. That is in different languages. Oh, page 4. This is just your warranty card. All right. Well, let's check out the donor bike. So this is what we are working with today, guys. 2024 CVO Pan Am. I'm gonna start by getting this off. And then that is gonna delete the cat, the resonator, and then hopefully this head pipe setup will fit with this titanium muffler. We'll see. I'm hopeful. So it says it's a direct replacement. So let's get after it. And up she goes. So first things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the cowl off so that we can gain access to the side covers, because we are gonna have to take the radiator guards off. And then we will get the rock guard off of it, and then just kind of keep on keeping on. Just grab this, pull straight forward, and then off it comes. Then you can do some cool stuff with it. Look like a, something. So the plugs are pretty easy to get to. They're actually zip tied with Christmas tree zip ties to the neck for the actual light pods down here. So you got to get those off, and then we've got to get this side cover off to gain access to the turn signals, and then we can remove the radiator guards. Once we do that, then we'll move to getting the rock guard off. And this is that little side cover that I was talking about. It takes a little T25, and you just put your screwdriver T25 in there, or ratchet with a long extension so you can kind of fish in there, and then you can get this side cover off. So because this is pretty much a metric bike now, the bolts that hold the radiator guards on, they are 13 millimeter. Now there will be a couple of zip ties that you've got to clip just to be able to get this loose and get it out of the way, so that we can now get this off, and then we'll rinse and repeat for the other side. Now your radiator cover's off. I won't bore you with those details on the other side, so I'm gonna hop over and get this side done. So per side, when you're taking the radiator shrouds off, you're gonna have about 4 bolts. 1, 2, there, that way you can see it. You have 1, 2, 3, and then 4 will be on the front, right there. So just be mindful of that. On this side, it's pretty easy to get to the side cover. On the other side, you have to deal with the clutch cable. That's kind of a pain in the butt. So I was gonna say but yeah, see, I just did it again. So we'll use so, yeah. So you just have to kind of like fish in there. And like I said, Pan Ams aren't the easiest to work on, but they're kind of cool. And you can about take the whole entire motorcycle apart with just like 4 different tools, a 13, a T27, T25, and a T30. And then you pretty much take the whole bike apart. It's actually kind of nice. So let's get the rock guard off. And that is T40, so we'll drop that and get that out of the way, because we need to be able to have access, and then we'll start removing the tail end of this exhaust. Here. We'll start removing the tail end of this exhaust so it can all just be apart. So I had this epiphany while I was busy taking the rock guard off, and I was like, It'd be kind of nice to have like a before and after what this thing sounds like. So we're gonna get set up. I'll do a startup with the stock exhaust, not let it run long because obviously I gotta be taking it apart and I'm gonna end up burning my hands, so that'd be kind of dumb. Should have done this in the first place, but sometimes I just don't think of these things. And yeah. Anyways, so let me get set up. We'll fire the bike up, let it run for a minute, let you hear it, and then we'll do at the end of this video. So you got to stick around to the end, obviously. At the end, we'll see what the sound difference is with a couple of little throttle blips, little whoop-ah, whoop-ah, whoop-ass. All right, so I don't burn my hands. And well, that way we don't have to, you know, put some ointment on anything, which by the way, that's what pigs use when they get hurt. They use ointment. All right, so since we fired it up and now the head pipe's hot, I'm gonna have to let it cool for a few minutes. We can go ahead and get the muffler off and start working on getting the resonator off of that as well, and then we'll just kind of work our way forward. Get a little fancy spring puller. That's not even tight. How about that? Get the muffler guard off. So you're also going to want to be able to take off, or take the bolts loose for the footrest support, but we're not taking it completely off. We're just going to kind of move it out of the way so we can get access to the back bolt on the exhaust hanger. It's pretty obvious that somebody at the factory did not do their job and tighten this up probably, because I should have never been able to pull this off. So now we'll get the heat shield cover here off. So now that we've got that all apart, what we're gonna do next is, so what's nice about the way that you don't have to pull the radiator completely off and drain all the fluid and all that stuff. All we gotta do is just unbolt the radiator up here up front and just push it forward so that we can gain access to the two exhaust flange nuts. Also on the rear, you don't have to pull the rear portion of the exhaust off, because that honestly is kind of a pain in the butt, but you will need to make sure that you get new exhaust clamps and a new exhaust gasket, because these are a one-time use only. So I did have Greg, the parts guy, earlier. He brought me a new exhaust gasket for the head. So we'll go ahead and get this off and kind of push forward, and then we can get access with a little swivel socket so that we can get start getting this head pipe off. Oh, hey there. It's me again. Yeah. So 2 bolts right here. Now, if you're doing this on a non-CVO, or special, if it's just a special, or if it's just a regular Pan Am, it's not going to have this rock guard unless you put it on there from the, you know, as an aftermarket part. So that's one less thing that you'll have to contend with and worry about getting back on. And that just kind of falls forward. Basically, you just lift up on the radiator. Yeah. and then that kind of comes out. And then we'll just finish lifting up on the radiator and kind of pitch it forward some, like so. So if you've done this correctly, basically what you'll have is the radiator pushed away on the front just like that, so that you can get access to those two bolts right there. And then we will get a 10 millimeter and we will get that loosened up, and then this will actually pull off. Now, what we also want to do is right under here is the O2 sensors. So we're going to need, and these are routed kind of tight, so you're going to need to make sure that you get these off. And I hate the way they do this. Oh God, it makes me mad. All right, anyways, so these are routed kind of tight, so we'll just need to get in there and, ow, that's hot. There's one, and then the other one's just right there, the gray one. So we'll use our swivel socket, bust this loose. And I love swivel sockets, and I love flex head ratchets. Oops, dropped a nut. Now if you're gonna be doing this, try to do this like right when you first buy the motorcycle, because if you try to do it afterwards, these connectors are such a pain in the ass to get off, because they get filled with dirt and all kinds of other grime and gunk and whatever else. So if you can avoid it the best you possibly can, go ahead and bite the bullet and do it up front, because you will have a heck of a time trying to get this off. All right, so now we just need to get a 10 millimeter and this head pipe's ready to come off. So we're just gonna loosen this up. So it will be necessary, after I got to messing with it, you're gonna need to take the shift linkage bolt out, and then you're gonna need to take the two bolts that hold the footrest support on, so that the center stand drops out of the way. And then now that leaves us a lot of room for activities. So let's get this off now. And we're off. So the part number for the the exhaust gaskets is 659 00051. You will need to replace these each and every time the exhaust comes off. Not this back one, because, well, it's kind of a pain. So, and there's really no reason to pull that one off if the rest of it all fits the way that it should. Plus, it doesn't come with that little elbow, so we're good. But 659 00051, that is your exhaust gasket for the head. And that is what the old one and the new one looks like. So I'm always curious at what the different aftermarket companies, how their fitment is and their finish and everything. So as we're going together, we're gonna leave everything somewhat loose and kind of like assemble it all and get it all nice and on there and shift it around before we tighten everything, in hopes that there's no binding or anything like that. So I'm gonna transfer over the O2 sensors, and then we're gonna get started on reassembly of this head pipe. So the O2 sensors are a 17 millimeter, gray is front, black is back. And if you get them mixed up somehow, the check engine light will come on and let you know that, well, you didn't do something correctly. So now that that's off, we're gonna get rid of this restrictive, non-breathing head pipe, and we're gonna get something on there that's pretty rad. So this is the rear, and this thing's stupid light. I can't believe how light this is. So black is back, and usually when I'm going back together, I always do a little bit of copper anti-seize, which I have copper and silver mixed together just because I was running out and didn't want to waste it. So copper anti-seize, going back together that way, because this does use this as a ground. So you want to make sure that it's making a good ground. And sometimes, like, if you put O2 sensors back in and it's throwing a, O2 sensor open low. Typically, like in the flow charts, they tell you, is the connection tight? Like, are the O2 sensors tight in the head? Because if they're not, and they're not making a good ground, well, then it throws a code. So let's get some anti-seize on this, and then we'll then go back together. And try your best not to get any on the sniffer portion because that will throw it off and throw a code as well. All right, so let's start throwing this on. So again, we're just gonna loosely fit everything on there first before we really start hammering things tight. Get your wires routed back correctly. If you can see to plug them in, there we go. Ooh, this is sexy. Pro tip. So a lot of the clamps like this, normally we just throw them on, you got to tighten them up, and then these are usually made out of stainless steel, and when stainless steel gets hot, it'll start galling the threads. So if you just take this apart, take the bolt out of it, and put some anti-seize on this, like, it will seriously make your life so much easier, and then you won't have a clamp that is broken or won't tighten up, and then you're like, well, crap, how am I going to get it off? So a little bit of anti-seize on this, game changer. So just make sure we got the correct orientation. We'll have to see how that works. I can already tell you I'm not particularly a huge fan, as long as that stays out of the way. We'll see how that ends up looking. We will get the Y pipe. Get our little springs on there. I'm not particularly crazy about where that lands. Maybe it'll change once we tighten things up. And I pull the actual head or the front exhaust up. Maybe that'll change. And I need an O2 sensor plug because this is probably meant for all European bikes, which probably have an after cat or some type of after smelling sniffy sensor thing. So I've got a plug for that, so let's grab that and then I'll put that in. Make sure that's snug. We're going to slip this on. Maybe. There we go. Now the moment of truth. Not 100% sure about this. All right, well, let's start from the front, work our way to the back, get everything tightened up, and see how it all fits, because it's not quite fitting like I was expecting. It's a nice finish on it, but I'm not 100% sold on this just yet. We got to make sure there's some clearance issues going on, and so enough talking. Let's get to tightening. So we'll start and we'll tighten this up. All right, let's move to the back. Be nice if I had a ratchet wrench right about now. The one thing I've neglected to buy, but since a lot more stuff is becoming metric, I might have to invest in some metric ratchet wrenches. And you're probably wondering, like, why does this voice sound like a 13-year-old that's just getting ready to hit puberty? Well, a lot like other people going on right now. I was sick last week and made me sound like I had Kermit the Frog voice. Alright. Now, I do not like the way that this friggin' pipe fits. So off camera, I had to do a little bit of persuasion to get this to work right. Still not 100%, like just not real crazy about how this, the rest of the rear tail pipe that goes into the muffler body, I'm not crazy about how that fits. It's a little bit out of bind. The actual arm that goes up and mounts to the factory location, it's still a little bit like it needed to be designed a lot like the stock one, where it was kind of bent to where you could actually get this on there and then it lined up perfectly. This is more of a straight kind of deal. This would not fit on there, so I couldn't reuse this. So we're going to put the center stand back together, get it all buttoned up, and then we'll do a fire up at the end. So I went ahead and wrapped up a few things. Got the center stand installed, went ahead and got the radiator bolted up and kind of buttoned all piped up. That way you guys don't have to watch all of that, because it's pretty much the exact is taking it apart. So without further ado, we're going to see what this pipe sounds like. Let's see if we can make that a little bit better. Let's try this again. All right, so for my final thoughts on this pipe. Sounds good, and when you remove the silencer out of the muffler, it sounded even better. Well, I'm not 100% sold on, and it's probably not meant to be used with the Screaming Eagle muffler. Probably something like a Vance and Hines or a Two Brothers or some other manufacturer muffler. So it doesn't fit really well there. The actual, like I said earlier, the arm that connects underneath the motorcycle, that could have been done a little bit better. So hard Zard, I messed that up again. Well, must be all the brain cells that I'm losing through this hair, which I got to go film something else here in just a few minutes. But All in all, looks pretty good. Sounds really good. It's just a lot of the times with some of this aftermarket stuff, they just don't fit quite well like they should. And I kind of expected that. So y'all were seeing some of the trial and error that I'm going through. Obviously, I had to go off camera and try to figure out a way to make this work a little bit better. But I'm actually going to call the customer because I know him well. And get him to come up here and take a look at it and, you know, get his opinions on it and see what he thinks. So, guys, I appreciate you watching. I also have to do tires on this thing because he's going to a much beefier style of off-road tire. So I've got tires to do on this, and then I got to go film something else for the dealership, Speedway Harley-Davidson, right here. Check us out. You know, we're always doing cool stuff. If you are in the area, swing by. I'd love to say hello. In the comment section below, what do you guys think of this bike, or this pipe, or the bike? I mean, this Pan Am CVO, pretty sexy looking bike. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you like this content. You guys did ask for some more Pan Am stuff, so as I get it and it comes in, when we get one of the new STs in, I will do a ride review on that and give you my opinions on it, the way it sits and all that other good jazz. It's basically the same 1250. It is the exact same 1250 motor. So there's really going to be nothing new there. It's just going to be the riding ergonomics that is really changed quite a bit. So with all that said, y'all, I'm out.